excited to be talking about this awesome subject with two great guests. First up, we have from Bravo's very exciting weekly show, Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen. Daily Show.
Hi.
It used to be, I've known you forever,
Hi.
so it used to be not even exist.
I used to not exist.
Let me introduce our other guest, okay?
Please.
Shall I do that? She's a columnist for the Daily Beast and correspondent for MSNBC, Meghan McCain.
Yay. Hi.
Now, this is a bit different for us. We're usually in a studio in Hollywood, and now we're on a stage in the middle of this blogger lounge with everyone actually, I think, live tweeting, taking pictures, live vlogging. This is the modern way to webcast a show.
It is.
Or experience anything.
I know. And so I want to go, both of you really got engaged with your communities. It started online, even though now, you are on TV every single day. Let's talk about that journey for you and when you got started, because we met at the Webby Connect Summit a few years back, and you were
Yes.
just heading up programming.
Yes.
And then I think you had your online show at the time.
Exactly. Yes. When we met, I had an online show, and Hi, Megan. And I have lint all over my jacket. I'm just realizing. Anyway, Lauren Zalaznick at Bravo really wanted to do a after show after Top Chef.
Yeah.
And she, as an extension of my blog at bravotv.com, commissioned me to do a live show that was a live web show. And it was really it was called Watch What Happens Live, and it was the format of what my daily show now is. Basically, me and two people taking calls, a totally interactive web show, and now it's an interactive TV show. I did about 40 or 50 episodes of that, and then we moved to midnight once a week on Bravo. Then we moved to 11 o'clock once a week, then 11 o'clock twice a week, and now we're the only live show in late night, and we're the only fully interactive talk show, I think.
And what does that mean, being fully interactive for you guys?
It means it's impossible not to be involved in the show. We have a poll. We have a drinking word of the night that you can listen, and if you hear the word, you can take a swig of whatever you're drinking. You can basically, the viewers determine what we talk about on the show. I mean, I'm sitting there getting questions by tweet and text and Facebook and email, and they're all coming in, and people are calling in, so it's impossible not to get a hold of us during that time that we're live.
Yeah. Now, Megan, you really got, the word out about, obviously, your family. You come from a very known family, to say the least. But during the presidential race, you started blogging a lot. Was that really important to you? And tell me about that journey of where you've gone from there.
Yeah, I feel like everybody here at South by Southwest, it's basically why I'm here to talk about my role as a blogger. I didn't know what to do to work for my father's campaign. There were, I remember Sarah Huckabee was working for her father, and she was doing like field work and like putting up signs and strategy, and obviously
Boring.
it's just well, it's something I couldn't do now, even after all my experience in politics, and all I knew how to do was blog. And I've always been, a little bit of an extrovert, and I just started doing it.
To say the least.
A lot of an extrovert, I don't know. Like, you should talk, either of you.
No, hey, it's
No
good.
judgment. No judgment.
So, yeah, and it's just been like, riding a wave ever since, and it's awesome, and I love the internet, and it's, I blog every day. I do a web show, too, for the Daily Beast, and it's just like the base of everything else in my life.
When you started blogging, though, I mean, there could have been possible boundaries for you in terms of what you could say and people censoring you. So how did you overcome that? And at what point did you decide, like, this is who I am and what I want to do?
I was censored by the campaign, and I actually got kicked off of my father's campaign toward the end, and they couldn't actually shut down my site because it had too much traffic, and they thought it would be a bigger incident. But I was like kicked off my father's campaign, and it was like bad. And then I had this brand, and
So what's that conversation like with your dad when you're kicked off the campaign?
he was like, "You've gone." I don't even remember exactly what I did other than like drinking too much and like blogging too, like being too open. And my strategists were like, "Goodbye."
And he said what?
He listened to them because I had become a little bit of a liability. But what I think is interesting now is if anybody's watching HBO tonight on Game Change, I just read that the director read my book and my blog for influence on how to do the movie, and I was like, screw this movie, I hate this movie. And now all of a sudden I'm like, well, if you're reading my book and my blog
and promoting it and doing your research.
Thank you. Yeah,
So then after that, I guess after the campaign and you get kicked out, at what point, like, what was the strategy after that?
I didn't know what else else to do except continue blogging.
Yeah.
And right at the time, Tina Brown had just launched the Daily Beast, and I had a meeting with her, and I felt like she understood me, and she would let me just write about whatever, and she still does, and I give it up to her for also not censoring me. So.
That's very cool. Yeah, let's clap for no censorship.
No censorship.
Yes.
Yay.
So, I mean, Andy, you deal with so many personalities, even casting people possibly like Meghan. I mean, how have you...
Like our friend Julia.
Like our friend Julia Allison, who's here in the audience today. Okay. Well, we want to talk about how, I guess, as someone who's in development, how has digital changed the way you look at programming and, I guess, growing your audience on TV and online for Bravo?
Well, two things pop to mind. I mean, the first thing is that we really listen to our audience. I mean, I think I was the first network executive to blog every day on the network's website. And that was a way for me to interact with the audience and find out what they liked and didn't like about what we were doing on our shows. And now it's really expanded, and I feel like Watch What Happens Live is and my Twitter, my tweeting about Bravo, and I hear from people every day about what they like and don't like about our shows, and it's like the ultimate live focus group happening for me every day, and it's really... And I have to say, it was part of the reason why we did something really drastic with the Real Housewives of New York City was because the response from the audience was so overwhelming that they wanted a huge change with that show.
You had like a club going on, so you have to service that club.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I mean, Bravo viewers are the most engaged on any TV channel, and that means that they are really, using other platforms while they're watching Bravo. And the other thing is, and we did a panel about this today, we did something that we thought was really great with Top Chef this year, which was a whole transmedia play, which is that we had a online show that was a companion show to Top Chef called Last Chance Kitchen, where the people who were eliminated from Top Chef got to compete in another show, and the winner of that show, which was only available at BravoTV.com, then went back into the competition on Top Chef. And it was actually, the results were incredibly dramatic, and I think it was our highest rated episode of Top
No way.
Chef.
Is that
this
because
season.
how are you driving that engagement back and forth?
We're at the end of every episode of Top Chef, so it's like if you were eliminated, it's like, Shira, pack your knives and go, and then you're packing your knives, and then right
To
when
the web? Is that the bastard child
No.
of broadcasting?
No, and then the episode ends, and we say, Shira now has a chance to get back in the competition. Go to BravoTV.com and watch her compete on Last Chance Kitchen. So it went back and forth.
I want to know how you both deal, because you both deal with traditional companies now with you on MSNBC, with allowing you, I guess, to be tweeting and connecting with online audiences 24/7, where they plan things out. So how do you approach that and that disruption and doing what you feel you need to do to be authentic to your audience, Meghan?
Well, not to speak for you, Andy, but I think Andy's kind of like a very modern face for a network because you are so interactive with the audience, and I think that's really the future of all television, even news television. The only thing I worry about with working for a news network is there still are boundaries of things that you can't just be completely uncensored.
Yeah.
I keep using the example of Roland Martin recently on his tweet and getting indefinitely suspended from CNN for his tweets. You still have to have some kind of understanding that it is public. I mean, I'm sure.
I feel like I'm one tweet away from getting fired every day. Like one drunk tweet away. It's like, oh, I feel good. No, I'm just going to say this. Screw it.
And do you ever get that call? Like, no, please delete that right now.
I actually got a call I actually tweeted something recently that I heard from people that did not care for it within the company that I work for, outside of Bravo, but within the larger company. But so you have to be careful. But I'm pretty good now. Again, I'm one.
You
tweet
need one
away.
of those apps where it goes, should you be sending this? Are you sure?
No,
Are you
just
very,
have to
very
think,
sure?
but you do have to think before you tweet. So.
I'm just as guilty as you are. I mean, it's so easy and it's so impulsive and
That being said, I'm on a live show every night or 5 nights a week drinking alcohol. So it's like sometimes.
So it just kind of goes hand in hand.
I know. Something bad's going to
can get
happen.
away
I'm going to
with
get
it,
fired.
you know?
I'm going to get fired.
And Meghan, I need to ask you, because you're a political correspondent and you obviously are very involved.
I'm a contributor.
Yeah,
In fact,
contributor.
somebody on Twitter made an issue because someone called me a correspondent. They're like, she's a contributor.
Oh, God. We need to be very descriptive in what we call you. So where do you think 2012 is going so far in terms of the political race and how they're using social media and digital tools?
I think that obviously all the candidates are on Twitter and Facebook and using it. I don't think anybody's using it particularly well. I think the problem is you're not seeing, it's obviously a press person that's doing all these tweets and these things, and even the spontaneous pictures I find very staged, and I think it's the easiest way to fail at social media in any way, especially with politics, is to have your staff do it, or in any way to just in any way try and sort of like be a copy of an original. Do you agree?
I do agree. What happened is that at the beginning of this, I was chewing gum and I didn't know where to put it, and I put it on top of my lid, and now it's melted because the tea melted it. And
Well, but what are your insights on what she just said? With that in mind.
I agree with what she said regarding people spontaneously. I will say the most successful tweet that I saw recently by a politician was when Barack Obama wished Michelle Obama Happy Valentine's Day. It was like a cute tweet, and I was like, oh, that's cute. I don't know who wrote it, but whoever wrote it
I thought that was cute.
Yeah, that was cute.
It felt very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
there's
cute.
some of them. I mean, there was John Huntsman said something about believing in global warming that kind of had a little bit of a like explosion on Twitter a little bit, and then he like immediately retracted and reneged, and I was like, God forbid you impulse tweet and then take it back. I mean, it's the problem with politics right now. With us being at South by Southwest, what trends are you seeing right now in terms of social TV and technology that are exciting you that people should know about looking forward? Andy?
I've only been here a couple hours, but I'm pretty.
You've already soaked it all up.
Yeah, right. So here's what's going on.
No, but I guess what are you seeing, whether it be at South by Southwest or you're in the
well, for us, I mean,
here.
it's really about viewer engagement, and it's about just continuing to think of new ways to bring people to the web and then back to the channel. I mean, it's really what we did with Top Chef Last Chance Kitchen. I mean, that for us was a huge innovation, and it was the most successful web show in the history of NBC Universal. So that's saying something because NBC, The Office has done some incredible things online, and other shows within the company. So that's really saying something. So I think that really inspired us to say, wow, we did this. Now we can do even more.
Well, so what do we need to do to get networks knowing that they should be in the web world, besides just tweeting and Facebooking, creating original content? Is it that the ad sales, I mean, we look at the ad sales and there's, obviously a ton of money in TV, a bit of money and growing money on the web, but how do you think we can converge those two more?
Well, for us, we're doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, so
it's working for you.
I'm not worried about
so what
other
advice can you give
channels.
others?
I don't care what other channels do particularly.
Just watch you and follow you.
No.
Megan, looking forward, what are some trends that people should be looking out for that are exciting you right now?
Trends that are exciting me right now. I mean, everybody keeps telling me about Pinterest right now, which I am not on. And then Google Plus apparently is going to have a resurgence this year. I don't know if that's an urban legend. I was told that last year about Google Plus. But I mean, for me, working in news, everything is, I'm one of these people, like, being on air is nice, but being on the internet, that's already where my audience is. And people that seem to listen to me are people that stay up really late and we're, sometimes drunk, and the internet is there for them anytime. So as much as I love my job at MSNBC, I'm just as happy to have anything I do just be on the web as I am on television, because it seems to go to the same place anyway.
That's awesome. I think that's where the future is, just being able to focus on that and saying, yeah, that is where the audience is, and you don't need to be working hard necessarily to get on TV, even though ratings are important.
Yes.
All right, we have some questions from our audience. And remember, we're coming to you from the Samsung Blogger Lounge. Thank you so much for tuning on youtube.com/What's Trending. Tweet us at What's Trending. And if anyone has any questions right now, we have a mic going through the audience. So come join our live chat and be part of it. Does anyone have any questions? We have so many people. Are we running to a question? We have a question right now.
Hi, Andy. I watch your show pretty much every day.
Thank you.
And, I really appreciate that you're kind of like just fluid with it, so it's different kind of TV, especially when somebody calls in, you kind of just roll with it. Have you had an uncomfortable situation where somebody has called in and, you don't know what to say, or?
Uncomfortable situation with callers. Actually, Martha Stewart was on the other day, and we got a Baba Booey call, a Howard Stern fan. But I was so excited. It was our second Baba Booey call that we've gotten, and I'm such a Howard Stern fan that I'm like, oh my God.
You know you're legit when you get a Baba Booey call.
I know, no, exactly. I was like, we got one. Like, I just felt like we were on the map. Martha was like, oh, Howard, you know, and I said, are you friends with Howard? And she said, I said, do you see him in the Hamptons? She said, yes, we're friendly. She said, I've been on his show. She had been on his show. But nothing too crazy in terms of callers. Nothing that's been horrible. Like, no one's yelled at me.
Something on your show when an actress, she thought that she was the actress from...
oh, that was so funny. Oh, that was terrible. It was Yvette Nicole Brown from Community was on my show, and this woman called in and said, you were so great in The Help. And she's like, that was Octavia Spencer.
Oh my God.
But it was so funny. We fell out. It was her and Sherry Shepherd. And she's like, all black actresses are not the same. It was so bad.
Do you enjoy moments like that?
I love it. It was amazing. It was the great, it was one of the top 10 moments of the week on that show. I mean, it's all about just what happens. It's called Watch What Happens Live. It's like, what the hell is going to happen now is what it should be called.
Well, like when someone says, this could go for both of you, when something awkward happens in your life or online or on air or edgy or extreme and people are picking it up and it goes viral, how much is it that any press is good press? Or you question it and wish it was just gone?
I don't think any press is good press.
I don't either.
Okay.
I've never been of that mindset, especially in politics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think like Anthony Weiner's press.
That was definitely not.
Right. That was bad.
Not
Yes.
the press I would want.
Right. Yes.
So I don't know. I've never just tried that.
And how do you use social media to control the message then? Or do you use it for that?
Well, I mean, it's all about control. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all about just putting out what you want to put out. I mean, I think the worst people on Twitter are the people who are like only promotional.
Totally
And
true.
so it is very, I want my followers to know what's on Bravo tonight and know how I feel about it or what's special about it or
Yeah.
whatever. But if that was the only thing I tweeted about, that would be, very boring and no one would pay attention. So it has to be about the mix, right?
I agree with him.
Well, yeah, finally, tips to developing a new media brand and standing out because there's so much noise. So what do you say to people who say, I want to use social media, YouTube, all these digital tools to build my brand? How do I do it? Help me, Megan and Andy.
I mean, I keep telling people, again, this isn't the first thing I spoke at today, there are random people on the internet that I don't know why are so huge on the internet. I use the example of Kelly Oxford and Jenny Johnson, who are women that are just so funny that they have these huge Twitter followings, and they have parlayed it. From what I understand, Kelly Oxford is writing a television show or a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're funny enough and you're smart enough, the internet is the ultimate medium.
Yeah.
The
cream rises to the top.
cream rises to the top.
Yep.
That's true.
We don't need to be cast, Andy.
No, you don't.
Do you go to the internet to look for talent a lot now or not as much?
I do a little bit for Watch What Happens Live. Actually, we hired that Randall's, Randall, the honey badger guy.
Yes.
He's doing.
He's great. He's awesome.
He's Watch What Happens Live correspondent, actually. And he's kind of it turns out there's a honey badger in every Bravo show. So it's like, he did one about, the Housewives of Orange County last week. Like, look at Vicky. Look at her. Look at her, look at her hair. It's disgusting, whatever.
That's great.
So he did one about Bev on Top Chef. He did, so he's doing pieces for us. But we are looking more and more at people on social media who are funny, who, hey, they could do something funny on on the show.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you both for being here. Thank you so much for coming offline. You could follow Meghan McCain at McCain Bloggette. Andy Cohen from Bravo at Bravo Andy. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all again for being here and making your way to the Samsung Blogger Lounge. Let's all give everyone a round of applause.
Yay.
And thank you all for tuning in. Remember, go to Samsung.com/HowOlympic Be one of the first to sign up for the Samsung Olympic Genome Project. It is awesome.
I want to sign up for one of those Samsung TVs that are flanking the stage.
Well, you
They're
can. That's why
amazing.
you're here. Anything is possible.
Do Megan and I each get a TV for appearing on the show?
I can't say anything. I'll let my people talk to your people. And thank you all for tuning in online. Keep on watching youtube.com/What's Trending. We are bringing you more coverage live from South by Southwest at the Samsung Blogger Lounge. See you soon. Bye.
Yay.